My name is Jillian Creer, and the career that I would like to have is a teacher. I did an interview via email with my 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Hanson, who is now a 3rd grade teacher at BES. Why this career? Mrs. Hanson knew that she wanted to become a teacher as early as 1st grade because of her phenomenal, inspirational teacher who was very energetic, loving, caring, and made learning fun, and she wanted to be just like her. She chose this career because she loves working with children. Growing up, Mrs. Hanson did a lot of babysitting and worked in a daycare facility, and has always been happiest when surrounded by children of all ages. She also chose this career because she knew it would be the most rewarding job and that she would wake up every morning excited to go to work. Knowledge to have and classes to take. She thinks it is very important to understand that not all children learn the same way. So it is important to implement many different teaching strategies to reach all your learners. You should have an understanding of differentiation in the classroom, especially in the area of reading. Skills you should possess are within your personality. She believes a wonderful teacher is patient, understanding, loving, creative, energetic, fair, caring, kind, fun, and truly loves what they do each day. When Mrs. Hanson was in college and her major was declared, the entire path of courses was laid out for her, so there were very few electives. All of her classes were related to education and early childhood, and were all mandatory and useful. Describe your career. Mrs. Hanson states that as a teacher you are required to teach children the various subject areas and implement differentiated instruction so all children can learn to the best of their ability. You need to offer a safe and learning environment and make children feel loved and special as you're teaching them every day. Also, you need to communicate clearly with the parents so they are aware of exactly what is happening in the classroom. You are supervised by your administrator, who will observe you several times and work with you closely during the first 3 years of teaching. They will offer any help and support you may need at any time. Mrs. Hanson's typical day starts out with a 30-minute prep time in the morning before the bell rings for her to get her teaching materials and lessons ready for the morning before the students arrive. Once the students arrive, they will complete their morning jobs of doing their lunch count, turning in their homework, putting away coats, backpacks, etc. Then she begins her day by teaching math. After math, the students will go to their special classes. At this time, Mrs. Hanson will answer emails and phone calls from parents, create lesson plans for future lessons, meet with team members, etc. After specials, students will go to their reading groups, where all 3rd graders are divided into groups based on their reading abilities. She teaches a small group of students, and the students work on a variety of activities to improve their phonics, fluency, and comprehension skills. After reading groups, students will have a snack and silent reading time. Then she teaches language arts, which encompasses spelling, grammar, reading comprehension, writing, and fluency. Students will then go to recess and lunch. After lunch, students will meet in her classroom library for a read aloud, where she reads a chapter of a day of a chapter book. Then students will finish their math lesson for the day and complete Rocket Math. Lastly, students will have science and social studies at the end of the day. Then students will write their assignments for homework, gather their mail, and pack up for the day, and students will be dismissed. After school, she spends a lot of time correcting and grading papers, attending meetings, following up with parents, and more lesson planning. Her favorite part about being a teacher is how every day is very different, and teaching is a challenging job that always keeps you on your toes. There is never a dull moment. She loves working with her students and watching their eyes light up when they have just learned how to do something. Teaching is very rewarding, and she loves the special connections she makes with her students. It is an exciting and interesting career, and she is always learning something new to implement in her classroom. Outlook for the career. She said in terms of managing, setting up, and organizing your classroom, each year gets easier because you become more comfortable. Working with parents and keeping the communication open and clear has become much easier too, because with each year you become more confident as a teacher. However, the curriculum and standards are always changing, which keeps you always learning new material to teach. She does enjoy this because it keeps teaching interesting and fresh. The expectations of teachers has become more and more, and she feels they are expected to teach differently and do so much more than when she started teaching. Therefore, your plate is overflowing and your time is more limited as you are expected to spend a lot of your time on certain committees. Therefore, the answer is both for her. Mrs. Hanson has been out of college for 11 years, so she is not positive of what the market for finding a job in teaching looks like. She will say that when there are openings in the elementary school for a teaching position, they receive hundreds of applications. You may apply to many jobs and not get an interview for several. It is best to get yourself out there and gain experience so they know a face with the name. Mrs. Hanson wishes that she didn't have to switch grade levels after only 1 year of teaching. However, she thinks it is great for teachers to switch grade levels as it gives them an opportunity to start something new and fresh. Teachers can get in a rut of teaching the same thing over and over again, and a new grade level will allow them to change and spice things up. They can learn new material and new strategies to teach the material. It also gives you a chance to work with a new team and get to know that team better and learn from them. She can say with 100% honesty that teaching is the career for her for the rest of her life. She loves her job and loves coming to Byron Elementary School every day to work with amazing students and outstanding staff. Licensing, pay, and advancement. Mrs. Hanson's advice for a higher wage in teaching is to complete your master's degree and continue your education after college to receive a higher wage. You can always continue to take more college courses to continue your education even further if interested. To become a teacher, you need to complete a bachelor's degree in education, which is a 4-year degree. Then she knows there are a number of tests that you need to pass after you graduate from college to receive your teaching license. Once you have received your license, you need to complete 120 clock hours of classes during a 5-year time period to renew your license. She is unsure of how long the testing process takes in receiving your first license, as things have changed drastically since she graduated from college. She says that at this time, no bonuses are given for superior performance. She is not sure of the pay scale at this time, but her guess is about $150,000 after 5 years. Classes in related industries. Mrs. Hanson went to school at Northern State University in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Her favorite classes were the classes that were most relevant to her career, which means all field experience classes where she actually got to work and learn in the classroom from various teachers. She truly feels that no college classes can really teach you and prepare you for your career of teaching, like your field experience. She completed these in her sophomore, junior, and senior years of college, in 5th, 2nd, and 1st grades, kindergarten, and preschool. They were the most beneficial experiences. Mrs. Hanson's senior year of college consisted of all student teaching. Her fall semester, she completed early childhood student teaching in preschool and kindergarten classroom. And her spring semester, she student taught in a 2nd grade classroom for 10 to 12 weeks. She went into college her freshman year with a declared major of education right from the start. Finding a job. When she graduated, Mrs. Hanson used a lot of online websites to search for job openings. St. Cloud State University had a wonderful site to search for Minnesota openings. It isn't difficult finding the openings, but it is disappointing to send your application, resume, cover letter, etc. to many schools and not hear anything back. That is why she found substitute teaching to be a very valuable experience, because she got the opportunity to work in a district and establish a name for herself. When applying, you need to submit your application, resume, and cover letter. When interviewing, it is important to relate to past experiences and give many examples of how you would implement different methods and strategies. Also bring a portfolio to show examples of your work. After substitute teaching in the Byron district, Mrs. Hanson was interviewed and offered a position and has been teaching there and loving her job ever since. My research. I think one of the main reasons why this career interests me is because my mom is a teacher. so I've been exposed to it quite a bit. I also have had very good teachers throughout my years that have influenced me to become one myself. I have had experiences with babysitting, student assist, and being a group leader for little kids camps such as VBS and FCA. I enjoy working with kids and helping them learn and grow. MCIS suggests that I should be able to be physically active for long periods of time without getting tired or out of breath, speak clearly so listeners can understand, and focus on one source of sound and ignore others. The Career Cluster Inventory Assessment, Ideas Assessment, and ONET Interest Profile gave me satisfying results of an educator being a good fit for me. Some classes that are suggested for this career are child development, computer applications, keyboarding, teacher assisting, public speaking, and psychology. I have taken child development, student assist, and we did public speaking in 10th grade English class. The employment outlook for this career is very large in both Minnesota and the United States. I think there will be a high demand for teachers because the overall student enrollment in elementary schools is expected to increase. According to MCIS, student numbers for states in the Midwest are expected to hold steady in years to come. Openings for this career will always be available due to teachers retiring and new students coming in. Teaching and coaching kind of go hand in hand. Most coaches are teachers and several teachers are coaches in at least one sport in the school district. I am highly interested in either coaching volleyball, gymnastics, or track someday. I'm not sure if I would like to coach at the varsity level, but I would like to be involved in some way. The end.